Thank you for attending the Racing to Recovery Support Group meeting. We are focused on maintaining a drug-free and healthy lifestyle. This is 2001 an open forum meeting for the parents, adolescents, recovering individuals, and anyone who supports our mission. Suggestions, comments, or ideas are welcome to make the meetings the best they can be. The Race for Recovery Support Group meeting is a cutting-edge alternative to what is currently offered by combining substance abusers, families, friends, and the public at large. We have created an environment that is beneficial to everyone who has been affected by alcohol or drug addiction. Meeting start time is 7 p.m. Please be on time. Please turn off your cell phones or ringers to vibrate and refrain from posting on social media during the meeting. Show respect and courtesy to yourself and others. Please only one person speaking at a time. Please speak loudly so that everyone can hear. Proof of attendance is widely provided. Please turn your paperwork in prior to the meeting, and you can pick it up at the end of the meeting. Honesty is required. Feel free to openly share your comments and points of views on how alcohol and drug addiction has impacted your life. This meeting is open to people of all ages and welcomes diversity, so please refrain from using excessive foul language or language that discriminates against any race, gender, religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or disability to maintain an atmosphere of respect and dignity for all who are present. If you see a visitor, a new member, or returning member that you haven't seen in a while, please warmly welcome them into our program. Your confidentiality is important to us. What you say here will not be discussed outside of the meeting. Please refrain from leaving the meeting while it is in progress because it is disruptive to others. Tobacco use of any kind is no longer allowed on the property, and throw your trash in the garbage can.
Thanks, Dustin. Who's got the guidelines for living a lifestyle recovery?
Guidelines for living lifestyle recovery. Lifestyle recovery guidelines are intended to be utilized by recovering individuals, families, and anyone else who is striving to avoid substance abuse and achieve sobriety. Guidelines. Number 1, recognizing that substance abuse ruins lives. 2, wanting to pursue positive alternatives to substance abuse, such as our education, employment, quality relationships, health, and fitness. 3, using resources such as friends, family, teachers, and peers as a way to achieve and remain sober. Adding sports, art, or music to these resources will help us stay focused and motivated. 4, defining balance and working toward making it a part of everyday life. 5, building self-esteem and confidence through sobriety to combat negative feelings regarding oneself. 6, understanding that negative behaviors of isolation and self-pity lead to self-destruction. 7, lifting a person up is different than allowing them to continue their destructive lifestyles. Be there for yourself and be patient with your friends and family. 8, learning how to help without supporting the addict's behavior, providing assistance to recovering individual that will improve their lives, not further their usage. 9, recognizing personal challenges and integrating them in our lifestyle as challenges to triumph over. 10, caring for our personal, emotional, physical, and spiritual individuality is a source we use for our sense of worth. Each person is truly magnificent. Our mission at Racing Recovery is to prevent all forms of substance abuse by promoting a lifestyle of fitness and health for all those affected by addictions.
Thank you. All right, who's got What Racing for Recovery Means to Me by Kelly Anderson?
I do. What Racing for Recovery Means to Me by Kelly Anderson. R, respect yourself enough to quit using. A, accept the challenges that lie ahead. C, commit to your recovery. I, include friends and family on your journey. N, never doubt your will to succeed. G, give yourself credit for your accomplishments. F, focus on the positive things you want in life. O, overcome your fears and keep moving forward. R, remember the reasons you are seeking sobriety. R, reach out to others, give and receive support. E, expect holes in the road, choose another road. C, care for your body, we only get one in this lifetime. O, open your mind, heart, emotions, and spirit. V, victory comes from a balanced lifestyle. E, educate yourself on all aspects of recovery. R, Racing for Recovery saves lives. Y, you will learn that with sobriety, anything is possible.
Thank you. All right, it's time for introductions. Here's where we go around the room. Say your name and why you decided to join us tonight.
My name is Dustin. I'm here tonight because it's Monday and it's part of my routine, and it's my favorite way to start off the week.
I'm also here to learn. I'm here to learn and stay consistent.
I'm here to stay sober.
I'm Nick. I'm here because I wouldn't rather be anywhere else.
Michael, I'm here to change my life.
I'm Brittany. I'm here to get support.
I'm Alyssa. I'm here to better myself.
Dan, here to listen.
I'm Drummer Dave, here to start the week out right and listen and learn.
I'm Sierra, I'm here to listen and learn too.
I'm Taylor, I'm here for a healthy new life.
I'm Matt, I'm here for support.
Justin here for growth.
I'm Gina, I'm here for support.
I'm Kristen, I'm here to heal and get balance.
I'm Candy, I'm here to stay consistent and to live my best life.
I'm Troy, I'm here to learn a new way.
I'm Gary, I'm here because I came on Thursday for the first time, and this gives me hope that it can be done.
I'm Larry, I'm here because Monday, good meeting, good way to start the week. And I'm here because I like all the meetings and I get to see everybody, hopefully learn something.
I'm Sean. I'm here because I'm here every Monday night. I enjoy seeing everybody and continuing working on myself.
Deanna, is here to learn some good stuff in this book and work on me.
I'm Tony, I'm here to remain teachable.
I'm Christy, I'm here for balance. Laura, I'm here for support.
I'm Tyler, I'm here to work on myself.
I'm Heather, I'm here to stay on the right track.
I'm Adam, I'm here to learn from the book.
I'm Bobby, I'm here to spend some time with my people and get some positive vibes.
I'm Dave, I'm here to give Bobby some support.
Corey, I'm here for improvement.
I'm Eric, I'm here for patience and balance.
I'm Mike, I'm here to give and get support, remain grateful and sober, thankful for everything we have here.
Hi everybody, I'm Joe. I came tonight to see all my friends and hopefully make some new ones.
I'm Samantha, and I'm here to continue learning.
Elena, and I'm here to continue healing inside.
My name is Josh. I come here to continue to grow as a person and just keep a positive mindset.
I'm Brittany, and I'm here because Josh just reminded me that even though I'm good at advocating for my staff and the individuals that I have the honor of serving, I need to advocate for myself.
Steve, I come here to stay on the right track.
I'm Brittany, I'm here to keep making the right choice.
My name is Martin, I'm Brittany's dad, just here to support her and her friends.
I'm Sharon, and I'm Brittany's mom. I'm here to celebrate her birthday today. And I'm here just because this is such a great place to be.
I'm Candace, and I'm here for the positive vibes and also to celebrate life.
My name's Jeff, and this is a great place to be, and I'm here because I believe in this lifestyle.
I'm Kelly. I'm here to be educated. Last Thursday was my first meeting and I liked it, so I'm back.
I'm Jessie. I am here to support people that I love, and because no matter how many meetings I come to, there's always something more to learn.
I'm Bill, and I was here a year and a half ago. I really didn't give it a chance for myself, but the lifestyle that this is what worked for me before I lost my way. And I need some adult supervision, so here I am.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm Shelby. I'm here to stay consistent and
I'm Desiree, and I'm here to learn balance.
I'm Randall. I come to these meetings to remain humble and always learn something good from this book.
I'm Levi, and I am here because Racing for Recovery has given me a rope to climb, and I'm going to keep climbing higher. That's all.
I'm Zach. I'm here to get the most out of life and keep learning.
I'm Michael. I'm here because this is where I belong.
I'm Jessica, and I'm here because this place is helping me get my life back.
I'm Michael. I'm here obviously to stay sober, learn how to love myself, heal, and find what my passions are.
I'm Scott. I'm here to stay sober.
I'm Eugene. I'm here to stay sober.
Christian, here to better myself.
I'm Tracy, and I came last week for the first time, and the racing bug bit me.
I'm Erin, I'm here to learn.
I'm Dalton. I'm here to stay sober and keep taking it day by day.
I'm Teresa, and I'm here to start my finger off right and continue on my road to sobriety.
I'm Patrice, and I am glad I did come tonight. This cake is delicious. I'm here to stay focused and for support. Thank you, guys.
I'm Tony, and I'm here for the party. Well, for real, I'm here because I need help staying sober.
I'm Kevin, and I'm here to listen, learn, and stay on my track to sobriety.
Steven, I'm here to learn how to live life after sobriety.
I'm here for the positivity and to support new friends, old friends, and you can learn something every time you come.
I'm Connie, and I'm here because I'm grateful of the positive things that Racing for Recovery has not only done for my son, but for my entire family.
I'm James, I'm here because what I do to remain clean.
My name is Joe, I'm here to remain teachable.
My name's Steven. I'm here because whenever I think I got something figured out, life tends to throw me some curveballs. I'm here working on patience because a 4-hour trip to the mall definitely had me rocked this weekend, and I couldn't handle it, and I need to work on patience. So who's got the answer by Donald D. Carr?
By Donald D. Carr. Running from the misery, trying to escape the pain. As I approach the light of hope that lies before me, each step overwhelms me. Every breath is tears to my throat. I ache, my body rebels against me. My memories torment me. Agony has become my closest companion. My demons mock me as I dangle helplessly above the abyss of alcohol and drug abuse. The voices all sound the same, criticizing, accusing, blaming me for what has happened. They don't understand. They don't care who I am. I'm a human being full of thoughts and feelings. I'm worth saving. Just show me the way. At last, I reach the light of promise. There stands the answer. Open arms, understanding smiles, and to trust. And so it begins, racing for recovery.
Thanks, Randall. All right, announcements. There's a race approaching ever so quickly. It's exciting. Sign up. Get ready. Start training. Invite me to go run with you. I need to.
What day is it?
Saturday, the 26th.
Where?
Rossford.
How about the Halloween party?
And you can sign up online. Also, we have a new book that came out, Choices and Consequences. It's really cool. It's really heavy, too. It means there's a lot of good stuff in here as well. That's solid. Check it out. I already read a little bit of it. I love it. So it's like $20. You can buy it here. You can order online. If you need help, ask somebody. Anything else? As you can see from the introductions, our meetings are for everyone affected by self-destructive behavior. No topics off limits. If you have a question or something you'd like to discuss, we encourage you to bring it up early so we have time to discuss it. With that being said, does anyone have anything they'd like to talk about before we get started in the book? Yes, Candy.
On the 26th as well is the night of the Halloween party.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was supposed to say something about that, I think.
I was like,
Details, we'll have more details like next week and through the week. So, but it is that, it'll be a busy day. The race will be all morning, but that's over early. You'll have all day to figure out your costume.
Nice.
And help with that.
Nice. Stay tuned.
I just want to say shout out to Candy for being awesome. I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Nice. We are on page 56 for punishing self-esteem. Who would like to read? Kristen.
Replenishing self-esteem. To be successful in recovery, any addict must replenish his or her reservoir of self-esteem. That's another reason that I believe 12-step programs aren't a very good option. Very often, they focus on the negative, rehashing past sins and reliving hard times. To be fair, you do find a lot of unconditional love in the 12-step environment, but unconditional love isn't enough on its own. It's a beginning, but you need skills in our 12-step programs don't always teach. When you're trying to climb the deep hole of addiction, it's definitely an advantage to have a foundation of unconditional love flowing to you from other people. Or building a house, and you don't start with the chimney, you start with by digging a hole and filling it with cement, and that's your foundation of sobriety. Positive self-talk is in the beginning of unconditional self-love. When you are of sound mind and soul, you can handle the ups and downs of life a lot better. That's why when people come to my office for the first time, I try to make some immediate tweaks to their self-talk. You may have heard this, but it bears repeating. If you say one negative thing to another person, you have to make 5 positive statements to counteract it. Now imagine an addict who for years has been telling himself things like, I'm a terrible person. We dig some serious holes for ourselves with our self-talk. Part of my job is to get people to put down the shovel. This is my approach. 1, change self-talk. 2, accumulate small victories. And 3, savor the big victories. I tell my new clients that I have nothing but respect and compassion for them being in my office because I've been where they are. I don't scold them for low self-esteem or poor choices. That's not what they need. They all are already angry and embarrassed about coming to see me. They know they are making bad choices and screwing up their lives. They don't need me to remind them. They need me to respect them. Tell them that they have already done something extraordinary in getting to this point. Not everyone does it.
You can stop there just now. Okay. Thank you. Alright guys, as I always say, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Does this stand out to anybody? Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Yeah.
The unconditional love part. Finding somebody who can kind of understand what you're going through, and they, it's not like once you get out of rehab, you're over everything, so people don't understand that. So that's a tough road to find. I was with somebody I thought was like perfect match. I'm like, oh my God, so lucky. And I kind of had a little tangent there that, didn't work out for us, I guess. But you know what, live and learn. I'm still working on myself.
Thank you. Brittany.
Well, like I said in my introduction, I've been a really good advocate for, my staff and the individuals that I serve, and being an advocate for myself was always something that I had a really hard time. So I can give a lot of that love and that support, but I never really had it until I came to racing. So now I know the other side of what that feels like. Racing does for me what I do for the individuals that I work with. And I've gained some self-esteem, some self-love, and respect for myself through this program and through, the love and support that I have from everybody in this room and in this building. So that I really needed to hear that. It really did.
I really relate as well because this whole thing is talking about positive self-talk, and that's something I always need to improve on. It's something I think I will never perfect, but it's something that I utilize every day. Because if I don't positive self-talk, I notice the negative self-talk can creep back in pretty quickly. And the way I talk to myself is something that's very important. It's when I'm laying in bed and I'm getting out of bed in the morning, I can say, you got this. Don't go back to bed, you're going to be late to work, and then we go down. And I have to be kind to myself because positive self-talk isn't about just like always hoorahing myself when I talk to myself. It's just like being patient and understanding and kind. And I don't know, the best way to describe it is I imagine someone who loves and cares about me, how they would talk to me. So I talk to myself in that same manner. And it may be weird at first because I wasn't used to that at all. My whole life, honestly, I didn't really talk to myself very kindly. I always ran off hate and anger, and changing that at first was very difficult. It was, instead of using, putting myself down in times when I needed to improve, I decided to bring myself up and lift myself up, and that was odd. I was not used to that, but the more I did, the better I got at it with anything, and I'm not perfect today, but I try I try every day, and it gets me places I need to go. Kristen.
I was terrible at, or I was really good at negative self-talk. I mean, out loud to myself. I would just, it was not good at all. And now, and one thing I like, Todd always says, and said, you know, change your verbiage. So now I really watch myself, even when I've been saying, you can do this for stuff, and I say it out loud. I like to say stuff out loud because it's more impactful for me. And now I forgot what I was gonna say. But anyway, yeah. I do a lot more self-positive talk now. And it's still something that I have to continue to work on.
Thanks, Kristen. Sean?
So, you know, one of the big things for me for reading a book is I could take something from it, and there's something I might not agree with, but that's, you know, there's not any book I'm going to read that I don't, you know, I agree with 100%. So, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just sharing on my own experience, right? So, when it talks about the 12 steps and things like that, you know, I feel that Racing for Recovery was extra part of my tools of my recovery that's helping me get even further in my recovery, right? I thank this program for everything because it means a lot, especially with the one-on-ones and stuff. But when it talks about just using, now this is just on me, okay? When it talks about focusing on the negative, rehashing past sins, relieving hard times, I had to focus on the negative. I had to. Because I had to figure out what the hell, why is this Sean acting a fool, okay? I had to dig into there and figure out what's going on, and I had to have people get negative, right? So the unconditional love, I needed that, okay? Because all that conditional love caused me to act a fool, right? And that's the truth. So the steps worked for me because it helped me find a relationship with God. That's what it did for me, all right? And I had to find somebody that had a working knowledge of that and then could show me and direct me how to do it and be willing to follow the program and do it. And that's why I feel like I'm sober today is because of my relationship with God. He keeps me sober. Because when I started putting all this stuff down on paper and seeing and then having, whether it's a counselor or whether it's someone else, an experienced addict, alcoholic, whatever it was, somebody that has been through this, they could pinpoint these things. And then once I started realizing what a character defect was, because I couldn't change a character defect if I don't know what a character defect is. My silly ass, and I'm not just making this up, I thought because I'm right-handed, I can't wipe my ass left-handed. That's a character defect. How goofy that shit is, for real. Okay, so I had to really figure out what my defects were. I'm a people pleaser, okay? I'm selfish. Dishonest. All these things. I can go on, all right? So I had to find out what these were, and then I had to ask God to help me remove them. And now, by saying that, I understand that God takes them from me, okay? But my self-will can take them right back, So I kind of look at it like putting muffins in an oven. When they're done and I set them on the counter, they're there. So if I want to go grab them and take that self-will back, I can get them back, right? So I had to really understand where my defects were and this and that. When it comes to replenishing my self-esteem, to me, like I said, there was a balance. I have to understand that fine line, self-esteem or is it ego? It's one of the two with me, okay? Because I thought I was self-esteem all the time and it was ego. And the other thing was that I find out that really my purpose today is to be hard on myself daily, for me, but be considerate to others. That's what my purpose is. Myself and that stuff I never really did. You know, unless I expected something from you, then that was my purpose. I'll be nice to you, but I want to get something back in return. That's how I used to think my whole life. So I had to really understand that, having that unconditional love, like, let me get back, like self-esteem, okay? The only way I can build my self-esteem today is by trying to do the right thing when others ain't looking. That's the best way to try to build your self-esteem 100%. Now, I'm not saying I do that to a full degree, but I'm getting better at it, okay? I know I ain't doing I'm not hurting people and doing shady shit and stuff like that, but I'm working on that in different ways. So that, for me, that's how I build my self-esteem today. Because I thought self-esteem was, well, all I got to do is just work out every day, just try to get my hair cut every day and stuff. That is self-esteem things, but the number one for me to really work on it is trying to do the right thing when nobody's looking. So about that.
Thanks, Sean. There's a huge difference for me between ego and self-esteem as well. And before I got sober, I had a huge ego, and I thought I was top dog, hot shit, and as soon as I got sober, it kind of got stripped away from me. All the liquid courage and all the pseudo-confidence kind of got ripped away from me, and I was anxious, I was scared, I was depressed, I was lonely, and I had no idea what to do. It was hard talking in front of people, talking to people I didn't know. It was difficult because I had all this fake self-esteem, this ego that was fueled by drugs and alcohol, and I had to take that away from me and make it myself. And that was the hardest thing to learn how to do in sobriety, I think, was to have self-esteem and confidence naturally and not take it too far. That fine line between self-esteem and ego that I didn't want to cross over, because I don't want to be an asshole, and I don't want to be mean either, or I don't want to be egotistical or down on myself. I want to find a good balance, and I think Des is searching for that too. But it just takes time. I had to practice it, and I had people to keep me in check too. Like my 3-4 weeks in sobriety, and I wanted everything back right away. That was my ego. I thought I deserved it. I've gotten this far. Give me everything I lost back. Why isn't my brother still talking to me? Why does he still hate me? I've been sober for 3-4 weeks. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. It takes time. It takes work. It takes practice. And I learned that here. And with the help of my peers and coming to Sparker meetings and seeing Todd as a counselor, things worked out all right. But I'm not perfect, and I have to realize that too. I have to keep reminding myself that.
I'm going to second what Sean said. The main point was that what reinforces my self-esteem is when nobody's looking. Am I doing the right thing? But while I do that, that's also the time where you talk to yourself. It doesn't have to be out loud, but I know in my head if I'm doing the right thing or not. And spending that time in that zone as much as you can throughout the day has huge effects on your self-esteem. Like, you can get pat on the backs all day and go to bed and still feel like shit. It's because there was something you did in the day that you know you should have done better. That's if I really think about it, that's what builds my self-esteem the most. Just like what you said, that's spot on. And self-talk, I've spoke about it here before. In general, that's huge for me. Like, I wake up with myself, go to bed with myself, I'm gonna die with myself. I'm gonna leave whatever everybody thinks of me when I die. Hopefully, but I know how I'm gonna feel when I die, and that's the most important thing to me at the end, like the one that really gets down to it. So I think talking to yourself and feeling good about yourself, think about what happens when it comes to that time, and you're at the end of your life, like what can I say about myself? You know what I'm saying? That's what I think about. So it's huge. It gets all the way to that level for me. And when I didn't do that, I wasn't living out of my purpose. I wasn't I wasn't living through my purpose and the legacy that I want to set for myself and my family and everybody here. So it's huge. I don't think that this should be taken lightly at all. I think it should be taken seriously. You know, it has a huge impact on your life.
Thank you. Bill, right?
Yeah, sure. Cool. No, I was going to say something. I really liked what you were saying about, I used to let hate drive me, but I really never said anything to nobody. I just kept it to myself, you know. And I didn't really hate everybody. I kind of liked everybody, but I was real friendly and helpful, but I let it drive me for some reason. It was kind of but then, you know, what's cool about it all now, and I'm still, at my age, I'm still learning myself, you know, maybe more than ever, is that after being through rehab and 3 months in jail and missing Christmas and New Year's and all that happy stuff, that's not me anymore. I mean, I still try. I still got an ego, but I don't, right now, if I write checks I can't cash with my ego, I don't care anymore. It's like before I'd be all down on myself. And my doctor told me, man, you seem manic. I go, wait a minute. Is that being like a little too heavy? I go, hell yeah, I am. I just got out of rehab, man. What do you want? You know, so if somebody, you can call me manic. It ain't going to hurt my feelings, son. You know, so it's all good. No.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
Working on my flaws has been a real challenge for me. Got so many of them. Like, I start to work on one, and then the other one will pop out, start going. So I'll go to work on that one, and then one I was just working on before will start happening again. It's kind of like a challenge because I got so many of them that I'm working on, and it's hard to work on them all at one time. And I do hope that one day that these flaws will be gone and I could just naturally be a humble person and naturally be a good person without having to focus on each flaw. It's kind of overwhelming, but I know as long as I'm sober that one day that will happen and I'll be able to naturally be a humble person, a calm person, slow to react person, a person that thinks things all the way through. And I'm getting better at it, but one day I want it to be a natural thing instead of something I have to focus on.
I mean, you gotta give yourself some credit too, how far you've come too. Like in addition to, I don't know, I think you're being kind of hard on yourself, honestly. But I know, but you should give yourself some credit, man, because how calm and cool you are right now, and you're just self-aware too. Like, I think that's half the battle, but give yourself some credit too. No one's perfect in here, and the whack-a-mole might happen when you're trying to fix one thing, another thing pops up, and then another thing pops up. But I think life's just when it happens to me, life's trying to teach me different lessons. Like when I think I got it figured out, like I was saying when I introduced myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty patient, you know, whatever, I can handle whatever I need to. And then a 4-hour trip to the mall really set me off, and I was really not patient anymore. I was like, I tried to hone in, but I literally had to walk away from the situation because I was getting irritated. And I wasn't mad at myself for that, but I definitely told myself I could figure out how to handle it better next time. I recognized it, just like you were doing. And I think you got this. Just have a little faith in yourself. James?
Regardless if there's a right or wrong answers or solutions to my issues, find a way to solve my problems. I never really thought I was a piece of shit or had a lot of negative self-talk. I never said I had a disease. I never said I was fucked up. I never said, I did the best I could. What I challenge now is my positive self-talk, I guess. What I challenge now is the way I look at things, how I handle things. Do I still want to respond and react and get the same responses and respond the same that I've always had? Or do I want, because if I keep doing what I'm doing, I know where it's going to lead me. So if I want to get different outlooks and different insight for myself, just for myself alone, I have to pick brains and I have to read between the lines better, and I need to change my whole way of thinking. Because all this stuff is thinking is, it's just like thinking. It's a learned behavior. I learned all this stuff growing up. And I talked to my dad today. I was with him for a few hours today, and I talked to him about some things I said in group. And he brought up some things how he grew up, and we really related to each other. And it's just insane how I looked at him and I told him, I said, you know what, man? I said, I have so much respect for you. Because he thought he was a shitty parent, and he wasn't. I'm like, I said, is there a lot of things I probably you probably should not have done together? Probably. You're my dad, because he was not the dad I needed as a kid, but he's definitely the dad I needed as a man. He's got a little over 8 years. I'm proud of him, man. Where he's at now, I've been seeing him struggle his whole life getting where he's at. So now when he talks, I listen, I pay attention to him, because growing up, it was always that stubborn. I'm not going to do as you say. I'm going to do as you do. I want to be like you. And then when you got kids and you see your kids follow in your footsteps, you kind of get to reevaluating a lot of things. And I don't want my kids to experience anything that I experienced. And I think that's just a goal for a parent, period. You just want the best for your kids. But we can only teach them what we know. And that's my whole purpose of all this, man, is I want to teach my kids everything I did not know, that my dad didn't know, that his dads didn't know. And just to talk about that break the cycle thing, it's not even about breaking any type of cycle. I just want better for the rest of my family, because I'm going to pass seeds, they're going to pass seeds. Just the rest of, we got this Willowhawk model thing or whatever, this tough guy thing. My dad said he was about my age when he realized how much bullshit it was for him too, growing up trying to look a certain way and exceed these expectations and stuff. And he said, so you're about right on time, and I don't know, I don't want to be an angry person anymore. I don't want to be distant from people. I don't want to be that guy. I've perfected that. Where if I want to isolate and not be with anybody, I know exactly how to do that. It's not the kind of life that I want. And I want a different life that I've been following lately. And lately, I've been going towards the direction that I want to go. I just want to keep doing it. So I got thanks.
I think there's a reason this book is called There's More Than One Way to Get to Cleveland. And I think that reason is that we all get to where we need to go, not at the same time, not through the same ways, but we're all trying to figure it out. Kind of like we're all on the same mission, but we're in different areas, all working for one common goal here. And that's the point of these support groups and the meetings and the groups and everything, just to talk about it and relate to each other and help each other through this, because what you just shared right there was profound. And I never would have had that conversation with you outside of here, because we wouldn't have gotten on that topic. But I'm just thankful for you to share, grateful for that, and that just show that everyone who has something to say here matters. Even if you don't think you have something that's very profound or very important, it is. I think that's the most important thing. Don't be nervous to share your thoughts and ideas, because you never know who it's going to affect. Eric.
I was just listening to Sean and Levi, and it does make a lot of sense here. Very often, they focus on the negative. But I remember in AA they said, you never want to close the door on your past. I guess it makes a lot of sense. You kind of want to open that door every once in a while, just so you can galvanize where you've been, so you're not like that where I am now, or I don't want to be like that in my future. It made a lot of sense. But he's not in here right now. But Stephen, I listened to what he had to say, and it takes guts. Because when you look at yourself and you see these so-called, character defects, and you realize that, or I realize that I have them, and I'm not the only one, but it touches on growth too, because when a person realizes they have those, and they work on them, and the same thing, it's like I'll work on something, and believe me, I'm not nearly worked out as I should be. But then another one kind of surfaces, and you're like, oh shit, well here this one comes, and you gotta kind of try to attack this one. Then the other one rears its ugly head, and then you're like, well, shit, now I'm working on 2. Overwhelming, of course. But when you can, or I can, or anybody can be in a group of people and say, hey, you know what? I acknowledge the fact that this is an issue that I have. I'm working on it. It takes guts to admit that. And I see that he's working. I've known him, almost as long as I've been here. I see that people do work on these things, and that's incredible. That's like what sobriety is. And that's why I want to come to these meetings, because even when you don't think, I'll be honest, sometimes I don't get much out of them, sometimes they're slightly boring, but the majority of times, well, it's true, I'm just being honest.
Thanks, Larry.
I'm
just giving you a hard time.
I'm not, well, you know what I'm getting at.
I know.
So I know when I ramble on, people are like, fuck, pardon me, but here he goes again. That's why I'm saying this. But, yeah, it's pretty good, it's pretty good seeing that and being able to talk in front of people, and people see how you grow, and people, hey man, you're come a long way, man. It's a good thing. But anyway, I'll end with that.
Thanks, Larry. Good, Deanna?
Yeah, I'm working on self-talk. Well, I actually can honestly say I've been working on it for a long time. Kind of feel like, this whole thing is practice. I'm practicing, and, every day is a new thing, and I can tend to be really hard on myself, emotionally, physically, whatever, and, talk to myself, say things out loud, and I get corrected constantly because I see things that aren't good for me, and, I find, too, a lot of it is, I didn't exactly when I started working in my one-on-ones on, a lot of the stuff that happened, and it wasn't so much about rehashing past-ins and stuff. I've done that as well, the whole other programs and things, and, like Sean, I have pulled things from there that helped me here, and I think a lot of what it is for me right now is really trying to be at peace with my past and practice some acceptance with the person that I was. And to be quite honest, if I really don't understand the person that I was or know fully about the reason that I did the things I did, or again, come to peace with the stuff that happened to me, how will I ever in the future help someone else who's going through the same thing? If I don't truly understand it, or I feel like how is that ever effectively going to help anyone else? If I'm still suffering from the stuff that either the stuff that happened to me or the stuff I put myself through, because a lot of my stuff is self-inflicted trauma, situations that I put myself in, places I put myself in, and I get hard on myself for that sometimes too, but every single day gets better, and gets easier to switch. Sean always talks about unthink it, and really what that means is just basically change that thought. When you're thinking about something like that, it's I'm catching myself now, and it's no, I turn around, and it doesn't always make me have a better day, but at least I'm not thinking that crappy thought, and the whole integrity thing, integrity's a big deal for me. Like Levi was saying, okay, great, it's easy to do the things that, people see and you get a pat on the back for, but what am I doing behind closed doors? Am I able to do the right thing no matter what? You know, just in general in my life behind closed doors when no one is looking. And honestly, I'm still working on that. You know, I'm really far from perfect, but if I can't in some way get a handle on doing that, how am I like ever going to be successful in recovery? Because if I know I can get away with something and I'm doing something and like, you know what I mean? Like when I go to live my life, I'm just like, oh, nobody's gonna know that I don't have to drive, I don't have to do this, I don't do that. So I'm gonna drink a couple beers on Friday and, you know, nobody's gonna know about it. And, you know, I'm gonna go work Monday, I'll be fine. Nobody will ever know I drank, you know? And so when I start practicing that now, it's gonna be easier for me to get away with it in me, you know? And so I have to make stuff like that not okay for me. So that way it weighs on me, and so I want to change it, you know? And like I said, you know, so that's stuff I'm working on, and treating myself better, I guess, basically.
Okay, I just wanted to add something to what she said, and then I actually remembered what I was going to tell you. So, why racing or recovery was so important to me to come here was because I could get one-on-ones, okay? I didn't believe about the disease, the alcoholism, the addiction and stuff. I didn't believe in that. I did believe I had a thinking disease. Truly believe that. And I'll share a story with you real quick on that, why I know that. So these one-on-ones, now I'm actually getting everything out in these one-on-ones. It's deep stuff, right? Because I can't just hold on. I can't just get out everything, but then there's some little stuff I'm still holding on to, because I know if I don't get it all out, great chance I'm going to pick up again. I just know myself, okay? Because I'm running from my fears. That's all I did. And now I'm facing my fears. Every day I face them. And, you know, I was talking with someone earlier today at work, and I don't know what made me think of this. When I was, before I even drank or anything, I think I was maybe 7, 8 years old. Me and my friends, it's kind of stupid, me and my friends used to like to throw eggs, okay, at my buddy's house. And it was in a trailer, so we'd throw them and we'd hit it, and we'd wait for his dad to come out, and he'd be looking around and stuff, and we thought it was funny, so we just kept throwing because he didn't know where they were coming from. Now you know, I didn't have my mom and dad growing up, so I can blame all that on that. I didn't have my mom and dad. I wasn't raised right. My great-grandpa and great-grandma raised me, and they were very disciplined. They were very good. They raised me right. I chose to do different. There was a friend of mine who his parents were killed in a car accident when he was 8, and his older sister took over him and raised him. And I remember this kid telling me, I ain't doing that, you crazy. Because his immediate thinking knew that that was wrong. But mine thought it was cool to do that, right? So that from that moment when I was a kid, that stupid thinking has carried on all the way to 46 years old. And all it did was now I'm hanging out with people that are drinking, using, doing this stuff. So now I'm doing that and then blaming all my mommy daddy issues on that, right? Because it's trauma. But it really, I was doing stinking thinking shit when I was a kid, because that's how my brain was taught that was cool. And I was sharing that with somebody today. I'm like, I don't know what made me think of that, but that's where it kind of all started. And then my whole life, I'm running from fears. I'm running from everything. So today, I'm facing them every single day, and that's what's helping. But I also keep them back in my mind. It's like when she said, unthink it. The moment that I don't get everything out and I hold on to something, right? Because, you know, real quick, if I went to a priest, I could be shady, you know, and not share everything with him. And I go to somebody else and not share anything. But if I share it with a counselor who's been through addiction, I can't bullshit him because he knows. You know, he's been through it. He knows. Alcoholic, addict, whatever you want to call us, they can read right through us. They know when we're bullshitting. So I got to get everything out and trust somebody to really dig on those defects of all the thing I get and try to work on them. daily, and that's what's helping me stay sober today.
I already forgot what I was gonna say. He's talking about throwing eggs, and I think about it. I was that same kid, man. I had a couple of friends who we'd be getting ready to go do some dumb shit, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm cool," and I'm right in the middle of all that dumb shit. As soon as you said that, I can just think myself throwing eggs at tartar buses and dumb shit like that. What I was gonna comment on was something James said when he started talking about the family thing. I think we all grow up with different normals. And when you grow up, when I grow up, I'm obviously right now, and when I grew up, there was a lot of drinking and partying was like, it was normal, you know? So I don't blame them by any means on why I decided to take my drinking and shit to a whole nother level. But growing up with it so normal, when that opportunity came and somebody's like, hey, you want a beer? Fuck it. You know, I want to be the cool kid. Hell yeah, I want that beer. You know what I mean? And it kind of, it took off from there. You know, and to this day, and I never have blamed them for any of my problems or any of the repercussions that these choices have ended up turning into, the consequences and shit like that. That's all on me. But he started, when he was talking about the kids, all I could think about was Kai. Like, so when Kai was born, I was like, I was probably almost 5 months sober. And we were actually here for a Thursday night meeting. Jennifer was sitting right there, and her water broke. And if I had any reservations or anything, as soon as that happened, I knew I was never going to drink or use drugs again as soon as that happened. And then when I first saw him, whew, I remember I talked to Matt Boston before he was born. He's like, once you see him, your life will never be the same. He's like, you'll never love anything like you loved that child. And I'd be lying if I was saying like I stay sober. I do stay sober for me, but to be honest, like it's for him. You know, because in order for me to be the best me, for him, I got to be sober. And as far as like break the cycle, and if you want to say shit like that, that's exactly what I want to do. And I want him to grow up seeing me do positive things when nobody's looking, like all that stuff. I know between good and bad, even when nobody's looking. If you know you're doing something shady, you can try to justify it as something good, but in your mind, I know when that shit is wrong. And, but that's one thing that keeps me moving forward is, I want to make sure that he doesn't have to go through any of that bullshit that I've went through. Like, I've already went through it, I suffered it, there's no reason for him to go through it. And the best way that I can portray that or for him to not do that is to lead by example. You know, you can tell somebody all you want, but if you're not walking that walk that you're talking, if you're not backing up what you're saying, then what's it mean? You know, it doesn't mean shit for me. If I'm talking all this good shit and then I go home and I'm a piece of shit. Like that doesn't, for me, that's always came out. I could keep that act up for a little bit. Like when Deanna was saying, like, you know, if I sneak a few beers on Friday and Monday and nobody know, well, I would try that, but it would always catch up to me. I could never pull that shit off for very long. And I don't know, you got to talk about the family thing. That's all I could think about. Is like as soon as he was born, I knew 100% from there on out I was never going to use drugs and alcohol again. And what else was I going to say? The positive self-talk. That's something I've never done. I still don't do it now. What I do is I don't talk so much shit to myself anymore. I've never been the one to look in the mirror and be like, you got this today, that's just never been something I've done. But what I don't do is when I do something wrong, you're like, oh, you're so stupid. You know, I don't do that anymore. Like, if I go up and I do something bad, like I'll use softball as an analogy. If I go up there and I hit a pop fly, I'm like, damn, I could have did that better, and I start thinking of what I did wrong, and not like, you fucking suck, you should be doing that better, you know? So I don't do the whole positive self-talk, but I'm not beating myself up about making silly mistakes or, I'm not gonna say bad decisions, but you know what I mean? I don't beat myself up as much as I used to anymore. I try to redirect it, I guess, or whatever you want to say. Like I try to just say, you know, I try to find out what I did wrong and then realize what I did wrong and try to fix what I did wrong rather than, you know, beat myself up about. And I don't carry it like I used to. I used to just carry it with me all day. And I try to stay mindful and just where I'm at right now and not try to carry that shit into the next day. If I have a bad day, when I go to sleep, it's a new day. Except unlike Steven, I'm hitting snooze button in the morning. I'm not, I can't just pop out of bed yet. But yeah, with that, I'll pass with that.
I don't snooze. I just hit off and then hope to God I wake up again. If you want me to be honest with you. But, yeah. Jeff, close this out.
Okay, well, yeah, there's so much that I've been relating to this entire meeting, but, you know, I'm just going to refer back to what we read. And, you know, something that really struck out to me big time was, and just because I know I was at that point of getting to the point where I could put down the shovel, you know, and stop burying myself. Because my grip on that shovel was like so strong, I didn't even know how to let go. And then, you know, how he says you've already done something extraordinary in getting to this point. Not everyone does it. I'm so lucky to be here. I'm so blessed. I'm such a recipient of God's grace because there's so many more other people that are suffering and don't get this opportunity. I just feel really blessed for that. And another thing, as far as my past, and I'm going to quote the new book and I'm going to quote the Cleveland book, but my life is 100% my responsibility, not anybody else's. Everything I say, everything I do, I'm responsible for, no one else. And as far as my past, there's some demands that are stated in this book. And the last demand of constant sobriety is that I live with responsibility for what I did while I was addicted. Not so that I wallow in guilt, but so that I never forget addiction's lessons. I just relate to that big time.
Before we close out, we forgot to do something earlier, guys.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not going to let this slide, so on 3 we can start singing Happy Birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brittany. Happy birthday to you. Who's got the autobiography?
I got it. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I am in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It takes a long time to get out. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. I walk down the street. Thanks for coming, everyone. Enjoy your